Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. How is it going, folks? How is it going? The Supreme Court has ruled El Señor Trump can stay on the ballot in all 50 states. The order means that no state can remove El Charlatan. No state can remove the thug-in-chief from the ballot. I'll be honest with you, I don't really have a problem with it. So, he's an insurrectionist, he's a criminal. But since things are dubious for some, okay, let's vote him out in the landslide that is up and coming. Remember, the landslide is up and coming. Bridge says, Egberto, no restream bot to YouTube. I don't know. I don't have control of that. I hope. It fixes itself in a little bit. Let me go ahead and stream here and make sure that I can see my stream. I think I can, but I want to make sure that in fact I can see the stream that we are doing, because I mean it's all of this is supposed to be automatic, right, Breach? It's supposed to be completely and entirely automatic. I can see the stream, but as far as whether it restreams, I don't know. I'm getting your message though. All right, let's get busy. Welcome aboard. Michael Rudnin from Brooklyn, New York is in the house. Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York, upstate New York is in the house. E2247 from all over is in the house. We also have, and let me get my cursor going. We also have Lee Grant from Montgomery County is in the house. We have para ver, Lee Grant. I just did that one already. Where are all my peeps? Yvette Avery Herod, La Preciosa is in from Atlanta, Georgia. And we have, I'm going down, folks. I'm going down. Anyway, let's go ahead and start reading some of your things before we go to the great old videos. I got some great videos for you today. Michael Runde says, this feels like some straight up Nat CSHIT, 3 articles linked in comment. Haaretz, reversing an earlier denial. Israel military officials have admitted that the Telegram channel 72 Virgins Uncensored was operated by members of the Department of Israel's Defense Forces operations. Palestine Chronicle, reversing earlier denial. Israeli army admits to running snuff channel on Telegram. It's in an expose published in December. The Israeli outlet Haaretz revealed that the channel, which boasts exclusive content from the Gaza Strip and has published over 700 posts, images, and videos of Palestinians being killed and of destruction in the Strip. At the time, the Israeli military denied any connection to the Telegram channel, but a senior military official speaking on condition of anonymity disclosed to Haaretz that the Israeli army is indeed responsible for operating it. Vice News, IDF admits it ran gory telegram calling Palestinians roaches to be exterminated. The Israeli military has been posting grotesque videos of dead Palestinians on a racist telegram channel. It's a shame. It is a shame. But we knew this. We were watching this for a long time. All right, E2247's 45th edition for CERT had one question. Did Colorado Supreme Court err in ordering 45 excluded from the 2024 presidential ballot? And he got one answer, right? Michael says, this is who our government is defending. Al Jazeera, UNC's large number of gunshot wounds after Israelis' flower massacre. UN team, medics, and rights monitors say evidence point to heavy shooting by Israeli forces after massacre near Gaza aid convoy. The head of Gaza City Hospital that treated some of the Palestinians wounded in bloodshed said on Friday that more than 80% of the injured had been struck by gunfire, suggesting there was heavy shooting by Israeli troops. Let me tell you, these are young folks in the IDF in general. They're going out there and they're just target practicing, folks. This is evil. They don't see these people as human beings. You know, we've seen this in war before, but this is exacerbated by who your leader is. Criminals, criminals, criminals. All right, continuing. Lee Grant says SCOTUS rules 9-0 that a state can't declare someone an insurrectionist. That's not what it ruled. That's not what it ruled. The state can declare anybody as insurrectionist, and they can, under that state constitution, if they don't allow insurrectionists to vote in that state, they can't, as long as it's not a federal job. I mean, a federal position. That's all. So let's not take it to mean more than it really means, Brother Grant. All right, Michael Ranis says, I swear it's getting worse. Euromed Human Rights Monitor, Israeli tanks have deliberately run over dozens of Palestinians alive. Middle East Eye, war on Gaza. Israeli tanks deliberately ran over dozens of Palestinians in one case documented by the Euromed Human Rights Monitor. An Israeli military vehicle ran over a Palestinian. Yes, I know. E2247 says, not normal, but heartbreaking, and neither 45 nor 46 is apparently willing to stop the complicity with Israel. Day 149 since 7 October 23, at least 30,410 Palestinians killed, and that's not what's not counted. That's deep inside of the rubble. So we know that there are a lot more out there, So folks, we know what's going on. All right, Bridge MCP says, Lee, we knew they would rule the way or there would be havoc. No biggie. All right, E2247 says 110 casualties equal 685 people per day. It's of an estimated 5.385 million people, or equal 1.9% of West Bank and Gaza Palestinians, with 228 Palestinians killed, 203 per day. Sad. Michael Rowan says, Egberto, ABC News, the Supreme Court's rules majority opinion states responsibility for enforcing Section 3 against federal office holders and candidates rests with Congress and not the states. Okay. Let's continue here. No dissenting on ruling, but yeah, they all agreed. But there was sort of a minor dissent between the three liberal women and the one conservative woman. The one conservative woman had a piece that she didn't like, and the three also had a piece they didn't like as well. Okay, Mike Cisak is in the house. Let's see. But anyhow, let's go ahead and play our first video of the day. And this has to do, is Tom Czarnik in the house yet? Tom, are you here yet? If you're not here yet, I won't play this one that I want to play right now. So I'll start with, let's see, Maria Hinojosa and immigration, okay? Immigration is something that the mainstream media has failed on. So let's go ahead and play Maria Hinojosa, and we'll be right back. Maria, take it away. I don't think those who were listening to Ali Velshi this weekend got the important essence out there that Maria Hinojosa brought forth. I think it's more important than the simplicity of the statement, because there lies most of the problems why we have a very ill-informed constituency and ill-informed populace. Listen to Maria Hinojosa, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Is there a way that this narrative can be changed, even in this coming election, where we can just sort of sit here and say, this isn't a race to the bottom on who can be harder on immigrants? We actually have to think about our future as a country, the immigrants we need, and returning to being a welcoming country for them.
Well, so I would put it on us, on our fellow journalists, right? to continue to talk about the facts of what immigrants actually do and bring. Recently there was a piece in the Washington Post that was saying what immigrants do for the American economy, that just during the pandemic lifted the American economy so that wages are increasing, for example. But you have to have the desire to do that, Ali. And frankly, too many people in our country falling victim to this are just lazy in their understanding of immigrants.
Yes.
And you know what? We are everywhere. 1, 2, 3, behind the camera, in front of the camera. My dad helped to create the cochlear implant. We're serving fruits and vegetables to people. We are everywhere in every single state. So open your eyes. Are they in fact that threat, that horde, that mob that Donald Trump says? Or are they the guy working in the kitchen in your local little diner?
Like in my experience, that's what they are.
Like in my town in Connecticut. Where I have women who say, I'm afraid. They're coming. And I'm like, but the guy who's making your sandwich in the morning at the diner, he's undocumented. And they're like, he is? I'm like, have you spoken to him? So we continue to talk to combat fascism and name it by talking continuously and doing this kind of journalism, not giving up.
Thank you. Maria Hinojosa is the president and founder of Futuro Media and author of Once I Was You.
Again, Maria Hinojosa nails it. In other words, it starts with us. The journalists out there, instead of being sensational when they are out there promoting whatever it is that they're promoting, instead of taking the lead from the right wing and allowing them to lead the narrative, you have to be the mainstream media has got to get responsible and not wait for a few like Maria Hinojosa to come on and remind journalism of what it must be, what it should be, but actually be it. You know, at Coffee Party USA, we had instituted a program called Be the Media, because the MSM has failed us so much. The mainstream media, that is, has failed us so much. The idea was we all had to become the media, but with that comes some risks, right? Because there are a lot of rules that one must follow in order to make it clear to others that, in fact, this is reliable, this is truthful. So, I mean, there are a lot of intricacies to all of us being the media. But you know what? We can all be the media as long as we have solid aggregators that brings it all together. And I tell you what, that is where ultimately we have to go. With the media falling apart, with the venture capitalists trying to buy up media as just another cog to make money, and then ensure that the sensationalism of what's out there is all that's put out. We have to be the media. And as Maria Hinojosa said, we have got to take it over from the bottom all the way to the top so that we get an informed populace. We are uninformed at our own detriment. And unfortunately, that's where we are.
We spend a lot of time
Actually, that is exactly right, folks. That is exactly right. Anyhow, para ver. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. E2247 says, agreed, or Michael Ronis agreed. A plain reading of the 14th Amendment, Section 3 indicates that Trump or any of the others who participated in January 6th should not be allowed to run for election. The problem is that the Supreme Court has chosen whose responsibility is, and they're basically kicking the ball down the road. Paul Fleming says 9-0 is bad enough for the Supreme Court decision, but it should have been 8-0. In no scenario should Clarence Thomas, whose wife supported the coup against the Constitution, have been involved. We shouldn't normalize, ignore, or minimize his non-recusal and his brazenness. I agree 100% with El Señor El Señor Paul Fleming. Dear Paul Fleming, welcome to Politics Done Right. By the way, Tom C., are you here yet? I have something for you. Go ahead and chime in if you are. Michael Rodden says, Lee Grant, the Supreme Court's ruling was what? Was that only Congress can declare someone ineligible for re-election due to a 14th Amendment insurrection violation, not the states. I'm kind of surprised you are happy about this, as it's a big states' rights issue to be able to have. Again, remember, did you see that joke on I think it was what's a media the Laughing Channel, not the Laughing, the Comedy Central, where one of the guys from went out there. What, I don't remember what program it is, but he went ahead and this is the way the questions was asked. The Daily Show, I think it was the Daily Show who did it. They went up to a MAGA woman and they said, "Do you know Biden talks about putting bleach in your bloodstream and shining a light to actually clean the viruses out of you, etc." And the MAGA woman said, "That Biden, he's so stupid." I mean, I'm paraphrasing. He's so stupid and dumb. How could he even think about da 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 da? You know, they go on. And then the reporter said, I'm sorry. It wasn't Biden who said that. It was Trump. And immediately she said, "Well, I mean, there need to be some research in what we're doing." And these guys, that is a mental illness. That's a mental illness. That's a cultish behavior, but it is also a mental illness. Can you see that? And that was done for everybody to see in real time. It show, and I bring that up because again, if you take a look at the for if it were the other way around, right? uh, Democrats would come out and they'll be hesitant, but they'll say, "Yeah, I guess you got us here. That was an insurrection and a Democrat." Dude, we lock Democrats up all the time, right? But no, you're going to try to find an excuse. I'm sorry. The president is an officer of the state, an officer of our state. And there are many times that the office of the presidency, the office of the presidency is owned, or rather is populated by the officer of that presidency, right? Come on, folks. Don't let that kind of crazy argument that these guys have to put themselves in pretzels to try to make things that the way. We have an insurrectionist president. Or rather, we had an insurrectionist president, a treasonous president. Period. And I love all my right wingers. I love all my MAGA. But you guys are supporting a thug. You guys are supporting a purported rapist. You guys are supporting a guy who talks openly about holding women by their genitals. Guys are supporting a chronic liar. You guys are supporting, I mean, you guys are supporting a guy who stole from the little businesses, who went ahead and fixed up his hotels and all of that, and he stiffed them. You are supporting a guy who created a false university and had to pay back $25 million to the people he scammed. You are supporting a guy who had a big, big fund to give supposedly for charity, and they use the fund for their own personal use. That's who you're supporting, a thug, a thief. And that's fine. Just acknowledge it. Acknowledge that that doesn't matter to you, that it's okay that he does all these things. You're still going to support him. But then don't come to me and talk to me about your evangelical prowess or your Christianity prowess or your support for life. Because all of that, once you support Donald Trump, all of that goes out the door. Because again, it means you are supporting someone who could rape your own daughter and get away with it. Okay? I love the food from abroad too, Michael Rutten. That's why. But again, I'm a foreigner by birth, right? So I make me some mondongo, and I make me some arroz con coco, rice and coconut milky con porotos and all that kind of stuff. And so we have an international house here. And again, my daughter and my wife can cook Panamanian, and they can cook Italian, and they can. My daughter likes to cook all kind of stuff that she learned either from TikTok, from other Italians. I mean, it's great. There is so much better when we don't try to find out, when we celebrate the different cultures that we have, when we integrate the different cultures. It's interesting because many of the African cultures have been integrated all over the place, but nobody want to be African. It's kind of funny. Anyway, let's continue. Lee Grant says, or rather, Paul Fleming says, A network of right-wing activists and allies of Donald Trump is quietly challenging thousands of voter registration in critical presidential battleground states, calling themselves election investigators. Activists have pressed local officials in Michigan, Nevada, Georgia to drop voters from the rolls en masse. And you know what? I don't cry about that, Democrats. It's the law. They skewed the law to allow people to do that. What Democrats need to do is get on board. I'm going to put that on the screen as soon as I get to it, Breach. Get on board. Get on board and do it. You do the same thing. What's the problem? You talking about sitting back and being a victim, right? Democrats, don't be victims. They're checking the voter rolls. You check the voter rolls. They're taking Democrats off. You take Republicans off. Right? If they take a Democrat off because of a suspect address, you take a Republican off with a suspect address. That is how you fight the problem. When they see mutual assured destruction, MADD, guess what they do? At that point, you've neutralized that. But sitting down, as brother Morning Joe would say, "Oh, we're wetting our pants. We're wetting." Don't wet your pants. Engage. We have the better policies. Come on now. All right, Dems best not ignore the immigration issue. Washington, D.C. Significantly more Americans name immigration as the most important issue. And I know they do. That's why I played Maria Hinojosa. Because if Democrats are quiet, or Democrats, as Bruce said last few days ago, they don't do the right thing, of course, they leave a vacuum for Republicans, not Republicans, from MAGA, to go ahead and create a false narrative. Stop it. Engage. 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 And folks, you can call me 281-823-7747. Again, that number is 281-823-7747. Michael Rodin says, "Oh, wait, was Trump not Biden?" And then the MAGA had about face. Some cult SHIT. Exactly. Mike Cisak says, "Egberto, actually, after that was mentioned, people showed the research on those two possible treatments." You see, look at Mike Cisak. Look at Mike Cisak. He said, "Oh, after it was mentioned," Mike, it was a stupid statement, Mike Cisak. Don't destroy your credibility by trying to give it some thing. He's talking about sticking bleach in your veins, bro. Come on. My God. I've already identified the criminal that you're supporting. Madre mia, carajo. All right. Michael says, when Trump talked about taking disinfectants internally, I was like, WTF? Is he trying to get even more people killed? That's what would happen. And Dr. Birx was right there and didn't rebuff Trump immediately after saying that crazy SHIT. You're right. That doctor should have got up and said, "No, please don't drink bleach. Please don't drink disinfectant." And Mike Cisak has the nerve. Brother Cisak, I have more respect for you than that. Stop it. Stop it. It was a stupid statement he made, and I don't use that kind of language, but that's how stupid that statement was. Madre mia, ¿qué pasa con mi gente? Bridge, I'm looking to put your stuff on the screen right now. I need to put it on the screen because looks like a good one that I'm going to read right this minute. Let's get Bridge stuff on the screen. Here's what it says. The meme is Biden challenges Trump to drop opposition to bipartisan border security bill. And here he goes. "I understand my predecessor is in Eagle Pass today," Biden said shortly after Trump spoke about 300 miles away at the border crossing that's become a flashpoint in the 2024 election. "What I would say to Mr. Trump, instead of playing policy with this issue, instead of telling members of Congress to block this legislation, join me or I'll join you in telling the Congress to pass this bipartisan border security bill," he said. "We can do it together, you know. And I know it's the toughest, most efficient, most effective border security bill this country's ever seen. So instead of playing politics with the issue, why don't we just get together and get it done?" But he has no interest in getting it done. It's an evil man. He's an evil man. I'm going to leave that up for a while as I continue reading. Michael says, "Coconut rice? Haven't tried that before, Egberto." Mind typing the name of that food in the chat? I want to see if there's a local. Look, just go to any Jamaican restaurant and ask them for some rice and peas. That rice and peas, if they did it correctly, will have coconut milk in it. And as far as just regular rice con coco, what it is, and I tell you, you can fix it yourself. You don't need to buy it. Go buy it. Let me tell you what to do, brother. Do this. Go to the store. Go to any grocery store. I mean, they sell it everywhere now. Get a can of coconut milk. All right, and mix it with equal parts. Let's say you're going to go a cup of rice. It would be a cup of rice, a cup of coconut milk, and a cup of water. Salt it to taste, and cook your rice till it's completely done. Brother, you have the best. You got to salt it. I usually put garlic powder in mine as well. Let me tell you, guy, you have the best tasting rice, and you're going to hate me for it because you're going to say, Berto, I don't eat my rice, just white rice anymore. I still eat a little bit of white rice when my wife makes a good gravy with it, but All right, let's continue. Bruce Pollard says, so funny on TV, not in real life. I know, I know, I know, I know. All right, Paul Fleming says Trump just rolled out a pro polio policy saying he'd strip federal funding for schools that require vaccination. Some of us are old enough to remember that in 1952, the last pre-vax year, polio paralyzed more than 20,000 Americans. Why would we want to take us back there? I mean, we can't rice and peas. Yeah, we can't. The good thing about it is voluntary, right? Voluntary for the people who voluntarily want to be less than, I got to say the word, guys. Sorry. For those who want to be, I don't like to use this word, but I got to. For those who choose to be stupid, that's one thing. The ones that I feel the most pain for is the children of the stupid because, damn, I don't want to go there. Uh, what word can I use other than stupid? But I mean, that's the best description. But I don't like using those words. I'd said in my monologues, etc. I won't use those words. For those, they're not on it. They're informed. They're whatever. I feel badly for these kids of these people. That's who I feel bad about. All right, Michael Reyes, Egberto, I want to make sure I get something good though. Make it myself. I'll screw it up if I don't know what I'm doing. Again, the milk is a water, right? I mean, so I'm pretty sure you won't screw it up. But go to any Jamaican restaurant. The problem is that Jamaican restaurants don't usually use white rice and coconut. Most of the places they will just have white rice without coconut milk. The Puerto Rican restaurants may have the white rice with coconut milk, made with coconut milk. But I'm telling you, it's tasty, and it's you can do it yourself, brother. If you can make rice, you can do it. All right. I just gave you the recipe. Here we go. I'm gonna give you the recipe again, bro. I'm gonna give you the recipe again. It is this: a cup of rice, a cup of water, a cup of coconut milk, salt to taste, and put if you want. I like putting garlic powder in mine. Most people don't, but I like garlic powder in mine. So think about that, and you can get it done. Hey, look at that! He got the cuisine for red beans and rice from Michael Rudden. All right, let's continue. Bruce Pollard said, "Too bad Kennedy went off the tracks." I know he always does, right? I mean, but we've been saying that for a while. Let's see what else we got here. What else we got here? Mike C. says, Michael Rennie, I've read just about all possible options on this, but the SCOTUS opinions matches the actual constitutional amendments. I don't know. Actually, if you want to be technical about it, what the SCOTUS is saying, if the SCOTUS agrees that Congress can actually uh, uh, have the insurrection law against the president, that actually means that amendment, I don't know if you're realizing what you're saying, that amendment really says that the president is in fact an officer of the court. All right, BDGMCP say Berta from YouTube. Carl Cox leaving the program today. No point if my comments other as well not able to read by Egberto. Someone find a way to let Egberto the problem. Mike Cisak, not Mike Cisak, Carl Cox. That is not the way to be, Carl. I get a lot of comments. I try to read the comments. I don't try to not read anybody's comment. Uh, uh, please don't come here, my brother. And if you don't do this, bye, goodbye. I'd love to have you here, but please don't do that. That is not the right thing to do. I've missed a lot of people's comments, and they either put the comment in again or whatever. That is not the right way to do approach it at all. That's not what we preach here. We preach civility. And if you also want to contact, you can do what Mike Cisak is doing right now, which is calling in. You have the option to do that as well. Hey, Mike Cisak, what's up?
Hey, okay, so basically the ruling that was done by SCOTUS, okay, just to kind of simplify as much as possible. They pointed to the Section 5, okay, which basically says that Congress shall set up the way to enforce the rest of this amendment.
Sure.
Okay, so Congress actually did. They actually passed several laws along, after the 14th Amendment was passed. There are still some laws on the book. Okay, so basically what's left on the book currently is that in order to, basically what they were saying is in order for the Section 3 to actually hold, the federal government through the DOJ and so on needs to prosecute and convict the person of insurrection, okay? Because you still have to use the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments in order to adjudicate, okay? So that's what Congress passed. That's what Congress said. You have to have a person who is convicted of insurrection in order for Section 3 to come into effect, okay? And then from there, the federal government then controls that particular process. Okay?
Again, what is a code number that says that after Congress instantiated the amendment, what is a code that from the code book that actually says you have to have been convicted by a thing? That's the first thing. What's the code? I mean, you have a lot of people writing a whole lot of junk out there. I'd like to know what's the code in the code of. So, but there's another thing that I want to say. Okay, now we're talking about officially going through the Constitution. My question to you, or not, did Donald Trump have anything to do with the insurrection in Washington D.C. as far as you're concerned, Mr. Cisak?
No.
Okay, good. That's all I need to hear from you. All right. So,
so it is Title 18, U.S. Code 2383.
You have it on the screen right now? Read it.
Yes. Simply put, this makes it illegal to incite, assist with, or participate in a rebellion or insurrection against the United States laws and authority. Insurrection rebellion charges are almost never filed due to free speech issues. Okay, so that's the problem, is that.
Okay, you didn't. That's not code. That is somebody. No, hold on. That is not the code. There's actually a document with the code. Our laws are in a code book, and they have an item. You just wrote the interpretation of a code, not the code.
Okay. So here it is. Okay, the actual one. Whoever incites, sets on foot, assists, or engages in any rebellion or insurrection against the authority of the United States or the laws thereof, or gives aid or comfort thereto, shall be fined under this title, fined or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. So basically what that says.
Okay, no. Basically nothing. Oh, hold on. Cisak, stop right there.
It says you have to be convicted.
No, but wait. It didn't say convicted, right?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Did the president, yes or no? Did the president tell the vice president to do something he's not authorized to do? Yes or no? That would have affected it. Okay. He didn't?
No.
Okay. All right, Mike. What else we need to talk about before? Because I need to continue with some more videos.
Okay. So, well, I was trying to specify that part because it basically is very clear. and everyone else is saying, "Oh no, you can just imagine that he's guilty."
On
So I mean that's a
I'm gonna
leftist
do
thing,
me a
but
favor. Hold on, Mike. Do me a favor. Sorry to interrupt you, but I got to get the videos out. Do me a favor. Put the
okay,
code and the link to the code in our chat for others to see as
yep,
well. And then what I'll do
all
is
right,
I'll go ahead and investigate that further. But let me just tell you what concerns me about our little brief discussion here. We'll talk about this another day. The fact that you don't think the president has done anything to incite an insurrection says much. And also that you support that. Oh, one other thing. Do you think the guy's a rapist or not?
he's not.
Okay. Do you think the guy actually defrauded people with the university that he created or not?
No,
Okay, do you think the guy actually was stiffed a whole lot of people who work for him at his hotels or not?
no.
Okay. Let's see. There's another big one that I can't remember. Oh, do you think the guy used monies that were in charity money that he claimed from a 501c3 and used it for personal use? Do you think he did that or not?
Trump did not. Others did.
Okay, good.
That's
So
part of the case.
Trump, okay, so in other words, all these bad things that occurred under corporations that he created, he was completely oblivious to all of this. Somebody else did it, right?
Well, in most big corporations, that's
Oh, no,
kind of
no,
the way
these
it
aren't. Oh,
goes.
wait, hold on. These
You end
aren't.
up
Trump
having
does
people
not
within the
have
corporation.
one thing. Hold on a second, Mike. Trump has no big corporation. His corporation is like a mom and pop store with a lot of real estate. All his companies are on paper and very, very small. He doesn't have thousands of employees. He does not.
He does.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah,
You
he
look it up.
does.
You can see all the employees
Yeah.
that he has. He doesn't have thousands of employees at all. Okay, look it up. I think you do a lot of research.
He's
Go
got,
figure it.
got hundreds
But
of people in just one hotel.
oh, by the way, do you believe
Hello?
one other thing? Do you believe the Georgia phone calls or not? Oh, by the way, those hotels are not his. Remember, those hotels are licensed to his name, but it's managed by others of companies that he doesn't own. You know that, right? You know
Some
all
of
those
them.
Trump hotels are
Some
just
of them he
licensed
does
in.
know.
You know all those Trump hotels are his name being licensed, right?
Some are.
Most are.
He still owns several others.
Very few. Very few. Most of these hotels are licensed, not owned. You can look that up as well, Mike. And but
Yeah,
the other thing,
I know about those.
okay, now the other thing that I'd like to ask you though is, do you believe
Mhm.
the phone call that he made in Georgia where he said, "Find me X amount of votes"? Is that his voice for real?
That's not what he said.
Okay. Do you believe the phone call that came
I
across
mean,
that
if you
all of
want to
us listen?
lie about something, I mean, you can lie about that part. Because,
Okay.
I mean,
All right, Mike, I got to go to
people.
the Mike,
Yep.
Mike. I got to go to the videos, but I think for all the people
Okay.
that are listening to our show right now, you have given them a good example as to why there is a sect of MAGAs that we are not going to be able to reach. But many who are listening to this
Well,
interaction between you and me, they're going to say, "Oh my God." So you are going to help a lot of people. But let's talk another day, Mike, because I must get to the videos, okay? Let's talk later.
all right.
Thank you, brother. Peace. All right, let's
Yep.
go ahead and let's go to the next video, important video on rural America. And this kind of touch onto the mentality that our brother Mike Cisak has as well. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side. Chris Hayes gets it best. You know, all the things that the economic angst of those in rural America are things that are affected by the people they vote into office. Chopping down a mountain so that you can easier automate the extraction of coal. Hospitals that are closing, jobs that are going overseas with the capitalist model of maximizing profits at all costs for the shareholders. So we ship your jobs overseas, right? Those are things that are distinct to Republican policies, but they elect them. Check out what Chris's guest had to say, Hayes' guest has to say, and we'll then take it on the other side.
scientist Tom Czarnik and journalist Paul Waldman in their new book, White Rural Rage. Quote, this minority rule is a consequence of the disproportionate power wielded by rural whites, power that is often justified on the right by the insistence that these are the worthiest Americans, the ones most possessed of virtue and values, and that therefore it is only proper that their votes count for more. Tom Czarnik is a professor of political science at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, co-author of White Rural Rage, along with other books, which is out this week, and he joins me now. Let's talk about this concept of resentment, because it really has, first let's just talk about the trajectory, which you guys talk about in the book, and I think people know it at some level, but is underappreciated just how dramatic the move of rural America has been just over, let's say, the last 8 years. Counties that used to be 60-40 counties or 55-45 counties are now just reliably 80-20 Republican. So places that were already conservative moving just wildly, and it still shows signs of going. What explains that trend?
Well, as you point out, between 2012 and 2016, I think there were 206 Obama-Trump counties. There were 18 in my home state of New York and 6 that are wholly or partly in Elise Stefanik's district, the most rural, largest district in New York State. A lot of it's driven by culture war politics, I think. Paul and I are basically arguing that rural Americans, with cause, have concluded that neither party can really solve their material and economic benefits, right? Congress can't pass a law saying all you foreign countries can't manufacture things and hire child labor and have lax environmental laws to undergird our prices. You can't legislate the reversal of mountaintop mining, which pulls the tops off of coal mines. And so you can just take a giant shovel and you no longer have to dig a hole and send miners with their lunches, like in Matewan, the documentary by John Sayles, with their lunch boxes between their legs with a pickaxe and shovel. And so, those jobs are disappearing and you can't really just vote them back, right? But what's happening is once you make that decision, once you say they're talking a good game and whatever, we can't really solve these problems, you might as well vote on gods and gun and religion, like Barack Obama said. And there's a rationality to that because the Republican Party will try to take away reproductive party. They will push back against trans rights and so forth. So there is a certain logic to rural white voters voting that the way they do. And I think some of it's just driven by exasperation economically as they look around and they see hospitals closing, pharmacies closing, they see mom and pop shops replaced by dollar stores and Family Dollar, which is, by the way, late-stage capitalism, not socialism, ladies and gentlemen, is destroying rural communities, even though they're complaining about socialism in big cities and Obama phones all the time. And I think the desperation is real. Yeah, that point, I think, what I encounter in the book has really stuck with me because I think it also explains the lack of a programmatic agenda of the Republican Party when they have power, right? The conclusion that, there is nothing the government can do, which I don't think is necessarily correct, but the conclusion that there's nothing that can be done about the trajectory of these places that we live in that we love, that are on essentially a kind of downward trajectory in terms of their prospects. And if there's nothing to do, then I'm going to vote on this other stuff. I guess the question is, there's this theory of progressives that there are things to be done. And if you can target investment and you can target government policy for those areas, and much of it has been targeted explicitly by the Biden administration and a bunch of these laws, this theory of the case that you can make things better there, that you can reverse that. What do you think of that? I've been talking to a lot of rural activists this week, like Matt Hildreth, who's the executive director of ruralorganizing.org. These people are doing the hardest, most Sisyphean work out in these small rural counties to try to get people mobilized, registered to vote, and voting, not the right way per se, but voting on the right things. And you're right. Democrats are actually delivering a lot more. When Obama came into office in 2009, the rural uninsured rate was 24% for adults, which is measured as over 18 under 65 because you have Medicare above and you're a minor or dependent, right? The 24% uninsured rate within 9 years of passing Obamacare, which passed in 2010, so we're talking 2019, the middle of the Trump administration, within 9 years was lowered from 24% to 16%. That's 8% net. That's 1 out of 12 rural Americans who were moved from uninsured to insured. And because it's 8 against 24%, that's a 1/3 reduction. Out of every 3 uninsured rural Americans, 1 of them was moved to insurance. That is a massive public policy success. And of course, rural voters rushed out to elect Obama's successor, Hillary Clinton, in 2016, right? Wrong, right? Wrong. No. That did not happen. Do you want me to talk about how Joe Biden has saved rural people from COVID deaths? I could do that one, too, if you want to hear.
So as you see, the reality is Democrats, I simply cannot understand why they do not remain on the offensive because their policies are the policies that even rural America wants, right? It will serve rural America best. So if you isolate all the guns, Bible, or what is it? The guns and, you know that thing that Obama called out. If you can isolate that and condense it into a financial message, not for them just financially, but make it existential for them, make it in such a manner that they want to get that honey, not that you're trying to push that honey onto them. They want it. They want it. And you know what? The things that Democrats stand for, I'm talking about true progressive Democrats now. I'm not talking about neoliberals, but we can pull a lot of Democrats out of places like Timbuktu, Wisconsin, Timbuktu, Texas, Timbuktu, Appalachia. But it means getting rid of those Democratic consultants on the coast, that haven't got a clue about what the average American citizen goes through. So what do? They dependent on have a base vote that doesn't matter what they do, they are going to vote for them, and a particular sect that doesn't really need anything or matters. Folks, if Democrats not following their consultants are lousy. If Democrats start really being into these places for the people, it's amazing what can be accomplished.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
Chris Hayes gets it best. All the things that I somehow messed that up. Okay, look, Bridge, I hear you. Bridge says, living in such a rural area, they have been Republican forever. Then Fox came out. They will not change. They're like Mike C. No, let me tell you this, Bridge. And we've spoken before on this issue, and you have somebody that became enamored with you, and even though you're not trying to change them into a Democrat, you just want them to vote appropriately. When they go behind that curtain or they go behind that bar, it is their vote, and only God knows their vote. And that is, you have to give people permission to vote for something they're not used to voting for. And you also have to make it existential for them. Look, I'm going to repeat this, and I've said it before. I knew Obama was going to win. I thought Obama didn't have a chance of winning. A black guy in 2008 should not have won. Obama had that special thing, right? And he was able to do that connection. And I knew it when he was, I don't remember what state he was in, but he went to that door. And the guy said, the canvasser went and said, "Who are you voting for?" to the woman. The woman turned around to her husband. I don't know why she did that, but she turned around to her husband and said, "Honey, who are we voting for?" And the guy returned and he said, "We are voting for the N guy," meaning the Nigger guy. And then she looked at the converse and said, "We're voting for the N guy." That's when I knew Obama was going to win. When a racist is going to vote their interest, that means you superseded the message, right? And that is what I'm trying to teach a lot of my progressive folks. Stop looking for the love from the Mike Cisak. I love Mike Cisak because Mike Cisak is a human being. I will get Mike Cisak's vote when I make him having to hide in that booth and vote Democratic when it's existential for him, right? And that is what, I go to Appalachia and it's not existential for these folks yet because they are lied to. And the thing about it is when you can show it in a certain way, it works. But I got another quick one I got to show, and this one is Tuberville. Check this one out, and then we'll take it on the other side. Let's see. Chris Hayes did it again. He did it again, exposing the Republican fantasy. Actually, it's not a fantasy. It's a Republican. Let me lie to my constituents. Look, folks, it is important. This morning I was listening to Morning Joe, and he said, Democrats need to stop bedwetting and go out there and fight, right? And one of the things that Democrats don't do is first of all, they always play a defensive game. In other words, Tuberville goes ahead. He's on the offense, right? Biden is out there taking an ice cream, and, he passed a crack. Hey, Biden is out there in New York, and with that high crime rate, etc. And you know what? Listen to how Chris Hayes embarrasses the guy. But Chris Hayes don't have to do this. Well, I tell you what, let's listen to Chris Hayes, and then we'll take it on the other side.
And then there's Tommy Tuberville. On Tuesday, the football coach turned Republican Alabama senator dug out an old favorite from the Republican playbook to attack the president's recent trip to Manhattan on social media. Quote, hope Joe Biden enjoyed going out for ice cream in New York City while the rest of the city is afraid of crime and migrants. Tuberville was dialing up a time-honored conservative trope. But before he could spike the football, readers added a note to his post using the most recent stats from the CDC. Quote, New York's homicide rate is 4.8 per 100,000 residents. Alabama, the state Tuberville represents, has a homicide rate of 15.9, 3 times as high, the third highest in the nation. Tuberville's own state, Alabama, is the third deadliest state in the union for homicides. It has a murder rate 3 times as high as New York City. It's funny how there is no shortage of Republican politicians and pundits blasting Democratic cities constantly all day as hellscapes of violence and poverty. You do not hear similar criticisms, certainly from Democratic politicians of rural America, where those problems are in many places demonstrably worse. That disconnect has helped give a right-wing minority control over our politics and a rationale to reject democracy. According to political scientist Tom Czarnik and journalist Paul Waldman in their new book, White Rural Rage, quote, this minority rule is a consequence of the disproportionate power wielded by rural whites, power that is often justified on the right by the insistence that these are the worthiest Americans, the ones most possessed of virtue and values, and that therefore it is only proper that their votes count for more.
Right. Okay. So the coverage is Chris Hayes listening to what Tuberville said, going ahead and look into the response of Twitter Space or X Space, who came back and said, hey, New York City is actually 3 times safer than your own state, Mr. Tuberville. But guess what? We shouldn't be waiting for the Republicans to give an attack on Biden and crime rates, where it's, by the time somebody hear what Tuberville said, very few of those who heard him are coming back to listen to what the truth is. Democrats, first of all, yes, they need to respond immediately, but they shouldn't be attacking crime from a position of weakness. They should be attacking crime from a position of strength. In other words, go to red states. They are a mess. They should be attacking services for the people inside of the rural areas. Hey, guys, don't you understand what these people are doing to you, what the people you vote for have done to you? Take a look and see what's going on with the crime in your state. Oh, by the way, all of your neighbors that have guns, some of them shouldn't. And, guess what? One of the reasons your crime rate is so high is because of the policies of the people you elect. I mean, so it is so important that you don't go out there and wait for the attack. You attack. You put them on the defensive, because guess what? You have a lot to be proud of. You have a lot that says you are the humane party, or the party that supports humane values. You have so much to offer. Don't sit back and wait for the attacks. Go on the attack and put out what it is they're doing wrong. When we talk about Donald Trump is dangerous for democracy, we know that. But go out and tell people, how is he dangerous for democracy? What's going to happen in rural Timbuktu? What's going to happen in the middle of America when this guy gets into power? Maybe some MAGA who are completely susceptible to his venom will be okay because already they don't have much. But what he's going to do to those people who don't quite realize the issues? Folks, from a position of strength. Thank you, Chris Hayes.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing.
Yes, thank you, Chris Hayes. From a position of strength. From a position of strength. Anyway, CSAC, stop letting your right-wing stuff turn you into a racist. We've told you before, crime rate is a socioeconomic issue, not a racial issue. Okay? Now look at that WSJ slide that I just gave you. It should kind of give you a little bit of education on this subject, okay? And that is vetted. That is vetted. Again, criminality knows no color. Criminality is criminality. Remember that. Criminality is criminality. Anyway, I'm going to go a little bit over because our brother Tom Czarnik, we had to ask Egberto anything, and he came up with a good limerick, and I couldn't go away without playing his limerick. So check this out, and then we'll close out the program.
I got a limerick for you.
Yes. All right.
This is extended limerick. I was going to put it on PDR the other day, but just didn't get a chance. But here it is, and I'll put it on later. Hamas and Hezbollah demand that Palestine be Jewless. Attacked by terrorists, Israel's revenge is ruthless, bombing innocent Gazans day after day, even killing hostages who get in the way. Politicians right and left continue to be clueless, while children in the street are starving and shoeless. On and on, Arabs and Israelis fight. Both sides say they are in the right, filling the skies with bombs and lies, smashing teeth and bashing eyes, until anyone who survives is both blind and toothless.
Is that bad or what? I'm sorry Tom ain't here to hear it, but I did it, and I made a TikTok out of it as well because I think he nailed it. He nailed it. That's our brother PDR Posse. Maybe he'll be in tomorrow, and we'll be able to I'll play it for him tomorrow again when he gets here. But anyway, folks, I got to get out of here. But anyway, let's do this. 713, not 713. I forgot I'm not at KPFT. I'm at the other studio. I'm at the other studio. Anyway, look, please support the program. It's easy to support the program. How do you do that? You can support the program by going to politicsdoneright.com/support. Again, politicsdoneright.com/support. Alternatively, you can support us by joining our newsletter, becoming a paid subscriber of our newsletter. That is politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Likewise, you can support us by getting our books. And I have a new book out called, I'm going to put that out in a minute. It is Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man. It is shipping as well as it's in Kindle. I'm working on the audiobook. I will have the audiobook, I hope, in a couple of weeks or so. But anyway, you see what we're doing. Well, actually, after I submit it, I think it takes a while before I don't know. I'll see, but we're working on the audiobook as well. So folks, please remember, support us best you can. And I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics
done right.